Don't look so worried, Peter, my mother said. I'm sure he's done this hundreds of times before. Well, maybe not hundreds, the doctor said. But you've nothing to worry about, he assured. Nothing to worry about, that's easy for them to say. All I recall from last night's dream was looking at myself in the mirror, clad in feminine underwear, and being told that the bra I wore was a special training bra for boys. Special because it's designed in such a way that it cannot be removed by the wearer. It's not the sort of dream that I want to recall, either consciously or subconsciously. I seldom seem to have normal dreams, just weird ones where I'm somehow forced or encouraged to wear girls' clothes, and more often than not, I wake in a cold sweat and struggle to get back to sleep. Pay attention, Peter, the doctor's speaking to you, my mother said as my mind visibly wandered. Sorry. I gulped. You were saying? I was saying that after a little dream analysis, we'll hopefully get to the bottom of why you're not sleeping too well, the doctor reiterated. Hopefully. I gulped. Now, if you'll just concentrate on the watch, and try to clear your mind of all other thoughts. The watch swung like a pendulum. I followed it as best I could and tried to clear my mind whilst the doctor calmly recited a repetitive string of hypno-clichés. Relax, clear your mind, concentrate on the watch, your eyelids are heavy, you're feeling drowsy, empty your mind, follow the watch, blah blah, blah. Right, well, thank you. We won't keep you any longer, doctor, my mother said. Come on, Peter. Let's get you home. Goodbye, Peter. And don't forget about that diary, the doctor said, smiling and nodding as if to say leave. I've witnessed hypnosis on TV numerous times, and since I'm unsure whether or not he actually hypnotized me, I'm presuming he did. But asking one way or the other seemed silly. Surely I'd know. I don't recall having a conversation about a diary, yet I knew exactly what he was talking about. I'm to keep a diary next to my bed so I can write my dreams down the moment I awake. Maybe that proves that he really did hypnotize me. It felt strange as we left the surgery, like I'd just woken up and hadn't quite come round. I climbed in the passenger door of my mother's car. Am I going straight to school or home first? I asked. Home first. You can go in this afternoon, she replied as she fastened her seatbelt. She turned the key and as the engine chugged to life, said, well, that was certainly an eye-opener. What? Listening to your dreams. I gulped and feared the worst. What did I say? I nervously asked. Why don't you have a listen, she said, pulling a cassette from her pocket and handing it to me. What's this? I knowingly asked. It's the recording of your hypnosis, she replied. Pop it in, she suggested, nodding towards the in-car cassette player. I'd rather listen to it at home. I replied. Was I out for long? 15, maybe 20 minutes or so, don't you remember? Well, no, 1 minute he was dangling that watch in front of me and the next you said let's go. It must feel very strange, she said. I've never been hypnotized before, she added. I didn't reply, but did try to recall if I felt anything at all. Very little was said as we drove home. I stared out of the window and watched the urban sprawl morph into suburbia and eventually into open countryside. The cassette felt warm in my hand. I know my dreams are weird, but I tend to forget them soon enough. I'm not sure if I want to hear them in detail. Mum slowed down as she approached the hamlet. As usual, she smiled and waved at the locals on the way through. Our house is on the far side and as Sod's law would have it, we have to wait for a humongous cattle herd to cross from one field to another before we can continue on the final 50 yards of the journey. It's times like this I wish we lived in town again. Mum said as we waited. Unlike traffic lights, the herd can take 5 or 10 minutes to cross and they do it twice a day. We could have listened to all of that at this rate. Mum said, noticing the cassette that sits uncomfortably in my hand. Eventually, the cows crossed and the road was reopened. The farmer gave Mum a cheery wave and she smiled and waved back, before chuntering under her breath about building an effing tunnel.